On my last video, I showed you guys this Agri-Fab mowing vac system and how I attached it to the John Deere here. But maybe you thought to yourself, Nick, that's cool and all, but I don't need anything near that big. Well, I've got a solution for you right over here. Alright, this is the Ego self-propelled electric mower with the... What's that? Oh, this is way too small? Oh, you need something between. Oh, alright. I got something for you. Maybe this Agri-Fab lawn sweeper would be just what you need for your size of yard. Let's dig into it and see what it's all about. This is the Agri-Fab 44-inch lawn sweeper. That's model number 45-0492. This model holds 25 cubic feet, which makes it perfect for a mid-sized lawn. It has some really cool features that we can get into a little bit more as we go. I do have a link in the description, so please check that out if you have any more questions. But for now, let's jump on this tractor and put this thing to work. One quick thing before we get started. Here is the adjusting system for the height of the brushes. It's super easy to adjust. You just pull the pin out a little bit, and then you can slide this up or down, and you can see how that raises and lowers the brushes. But as you can see here, I let my leaves build up a little bit high, so I'm going to leave it at the highest mark for right now, and then we'll do one pass over everything and then lower it and get the rest. One of the coolest features of this lawn sweeper is how you don't have to get off the tractor to empty the hopper. It has this handle that attaches to the back of the hopper, and when you pull it forward, it flips the hopper upside down, and then you can simply drive forward past the pile of leaves, drop the hopper back into place, and go to get more leaves. All right, I've went over it enough where I'm not getting as much on this level, so now we can take the pin out and drop it down. I'm gonna go about halfway. And of course, if you're a responsible person and actually keep up on your leaf cleaning, this is a step you won't have to do. You'll be able to put it at the right height and just pick up all the leaves at once. But of course, I got lazy and didn't pick it up, and now it built up too much, so I got to run over it a couple times, but that's not the leaf sweeper's fault. It might be a little hard to see, but I just wanted to try to show you where the brushes were at now. It's about the width of a finger off of the ground. So this is going to change depending on how thick your grass is. Obviously, if you can see there, I barely have any grass, so I can go a little bit lower. If your grass is really thick, you might have to keep it up off of the ground a little further. But it's starting to rain here, so let's get this stuff cleaned up. I do want to stress the point that you do not want to pull this hopper too fast. You need to go fast enough so that the leaves get thrown into the hopper, but too fast will put stress on the gears and the wheels. Later in the video, I'll show you why that is an issue. I seem to be picking up less leaves again, so I'm gonna drop this down a little more. That has the brushes hitting the ground, so I think I'm gonna go up just one more so it's not quite hitting. I just wanted to take a moment to show you how wet these leaves are. They are soaked on the very bottom here. So if it doesn't pick up everything, I'm not going to be super surprised because these are just getting crushed down into the ground here. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get everything, but so far it seems to be doing pretty good. And there's the yard all cleaned up. My yard is actually pretty uneven, so you can see in the low spots there's still some leaves. I'm actually pretty impressed on how well it picked up the wet leaves. I've actually only ever used it with dry stuff, so I was a little bit worried it wasn't gonna grab onto these wet ones that were all packed down, but it actually did really well. I might take my leaf blower and try to kick some of this stuff up and make it a little fluffier, I guess, so I can try to pick that up. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. Now overall, this Agri-Fab lawn sweeper does a really good job, and this isn't a sponsored video or anything. I bought this even before I had a YouTube channel, so I have no affiliation with Agri-Fab whatsoever. But I do really think they make a good product. This lawn sweeper does work really well. It does have a couple flaws though. One of them being their wheel tire combo. The gear that comes off the shaft that spins the brushes on the inside is a metal gear, and that meshes up with the plastic on the wheel here. So if you get a little too aggressive with your speed or how low you run those brushes into your grass, if it puts a little too much tension on those brushes, you can strip the plastic gear inside the wheel here. That's something you need to be aware of, especially if you buy these used, because people will sell them because they're not performing like they used to, or maybe they think they're broken, but all it is like that metal gear isn't meshing up with the plastic on here because it has taken off the teeth. I have actually had to replace one of my wheels already. That's why I have this one. But once again, that was before I had the channel, so I just threw away the other wheel, so I don't have that to show you what happens to these. But these parts can be bought separately, and it's way cheaper than replacing the whole unit. So if you do feel like your sweeper is performing a little bit less than you think it used to, or if you buy a used one and it doesn't seem to be working right, you can pick up these wheels. Again, I'll have the link in the description for these parts. But if you don't abuse the sweeper too bad, if you don't try to dig down into the lawn too much or go too fast, these wheels will hold up just fine. And then of course, like I showed you in my yard, if it's a little uneven, if there's low spots, of course those brushes are just going to be sitting at one plane. So if you have a dip, it's not going to get down in there and brush it up. So you might have little patches where it doesn't collect everything. To me, that's not a big deal. And if you really care about your yard, I'm sure it doesn't have a lot of bumps anyway, so you're probably good there. But that's all I'm gonna use this for right now, so I can show you that it does break down into a couple pieces and it fits into a pretty small shed that I have. So let's go over there and put it away. All right, I got the sweeper back by my little, I think it's a 7x12 storage shed back here. So I don't have a lot of space in there. So this thing all together in one piece is a little bit big. So luckily it breaks down a little bit. Let me show you how to do that. So I like to just take the hopper off. It's pretty simple. It just has these little latches here that the bolts slide into. I'll show you on this side what that looks like. You can just push up on this latch here and slide the bolt out. Same for this side here. Snap back into place, so I just gotta lift up on that. This one gets stuck a little bit. So then once you get both of those bolts loose there, you can just take the whole hopper right off. And then this handle just has a pin in it, so you can just pull that out, stick it back together so I don't lose anything. All right, so then this handle can just go in the corner. And then if you have the room, you can store the hopper just like it is. Otherwise, it has these two supports on it right here that just stick into holes. So you can pop them out. And then it'll collapse down even more. And then it just tucks in nicely in the corner there. And then for the sweeper piece, you could go all out. You could take those pins out and take the arms off. You could undo the tongue right here by unscrewing those and take that all off. But I have plenty of room to just leave it all together. So I'll just put it in whole. And that's all there is for that. It doesn't take up very much room at all, and it could even be taken apart further if you need. If storage is kind of an issue for you, then this could be a good solution too. Whereas my big leaf vac system doesn't break down really at all. I would have to disconnect the motor to take the tongue off. The top of it is riveted on, so that's not really anything I take apart, so that's kind of a pain to store, whereas this breaks down really nice and easy. But I think that's all I got for today. So if you have any questions about anything I talked about on the video here, or if you need any parts for these sweepers, or just to check out some cool tools, I have a lot of links down in the description, and buying anything through those links helps out the channel, so I really appreciate that. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And as always, I have a ton more content planned, so if you're interested, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.